I found a writing app that does the one thing that Scrivener can't. I have a confession. I downloaded Scrivener when I first got my laptop, and I got overwhelmed in about 5 minutes, and I decided, well, I'll just figure out how to use it once life gets less chaotic, and I'm still waiting. And in the meantime, I've witnessed far too many of my writer friends having complete meltdowns when trying to export their projects out of Scrivener. It should not have to be that hard, okay? I feel really bad for them. Their hair turned half grey. And that's why I'm always happy to talk about writing apps that do things differently. And today we're talking about Deckle. But first, if you're new here, hi, I'm Katri, I'm your new writing bestie, and this is Protagonist Crafts, the place for people who are kind of obsessed with that whole writing thing. Deckle is a brand new writing software, and its claim to fame is that it does everything you want inside just one software. Instead of multiple different software for planning, writing, and formatting your novel, you can do it all in one place with one payment, no subscription. Full disclosure, I actually got Deckle for free so that I could take it out for a spin and then tell my blog readers about it. And I was not asked to do a review, and this is not a sponsored video. It just so happens that I like talking about new writing apps, so I just couldn't wait to jump into talking about this one. And Deckle is actually still in early access at the time of filming this video, so who knows what kind of cool features there's going to be in the future. Word processors like Microsoft Word are not, in fact, made for writing novels. So you may have ended up using something like Scrivener, except the compile feature is so arcane that you ended up getting a separate software just for formatting and exporting your manuscript so that it will look publishable. If there are any indie writers watching this, I know your struggle. I've witnessed it secondhand. Even if you're not planning to self-publish, you do want a painless way of exporting your project from whatever software you're using to write it. So what if you didn't have to use multiple software? What if you could do it all inside Deckle? And even if you have been using Scrivener this far, you don't need to start from scratch. You can easily import your project straight to Deckle. So I have to say, I haven't been able to personally test this, so you'll just have to take their word for it that it's very simple. Although I love talking about different software and apps for writing, I detest having to learn to use new things. I get easily overwhelmed, and it doesn't stick. It's weird because I've been using computers all my life, but if something is just too complex, I don't currently have the bandwidth for learning new stuff that I don't actually have to learn. So I don't. I'm still figuring out Notion. I don't want to watch an hour-long tutorial just to use the basic features of something, alright? Fortunately, when you first open Deckle, you get a full tour of all the features, but you don't necessarily even need that because it's all fairly intuitive. It's not rocket surgery or anything, but don't take my word for it. Let's go see what it looks like. Welcome to my computer. Let's see what this bad boy looks like. So let's create just a new, let's say, Fun in the Middle Ages. That's the name of our novel. So what you've got here, you've got draft and research. And these are what you're going to need the most and where we're going to start. So when you start creating new things in the draft, you could add a folder or a chapter or a scene. Well, there are also notes, and I wish the notes actually were in the research section, but what can you do? There's also front matter. You could have a title page, copyright page, etc. And back matter with all kinds of important things. If you want to use this software to also export your manuscript into a publishable form, so it's really useful. You don't have to know how to format all that stuff yourself. So those options are there. Obviously, you won't need them when you're just starting your first draft, but it's good to know. So anyway, let's say we have a chapter. So the horseman arrives. That's the name of our chapter. And I could start writing there, here's the story. Here he comes. Oh no, I can't type anyway. I could write in chapters. Well, I don't actually recommend that you look at chapters when you're only just planning your story or writing a first draft. I would look at scenes. And then when you add a new scene here, it could live there, like on its own, but I could also put it on the under this chapter. And then when you go here, it says, content here appears before scene 1. Leave blank to start there directly. So when you export this, you've got the chapter title there. And then if you're not writing anything there, then the chapter starts from the first scene that comes under it. And what shall we call this? The workshop burns. Okay, let's add some lorem ipsum to it. So now you've got some writing there, and let me just move my beautiful face out of the way. You can use this here to preview what your page is going to look like, and what this scene is going to look like. Well, not the page, but the page of this scene is going to look like, let's say, on Kindle or on print. So you don't have to guess, and you don't have to wait until you've exported to find out what it looks like. And then here in the scene properties, you can see how many words there are, how many characters. You can add a synopsis, some other notes, comments, etc. You can create snapshots of your writing so that you can go back in time after you've made changes, if you regret those changes or just want to see what you've been doing. And here you've got your usual formatting things in the upper row. And then we've got the research bit here. So you can add folders or files there. You can organize them by, why is it not letting me name it? You can organize them by, let's say, characters. We got your character stuff there. Let's add something to it. Import file. And there we added a picture. So you can refer to it when you're writing. And actually, you could click the split editor, then click here, and then choose your scene there. So you can look at, oh yes, this guy looks like this. And then when you're writing, you remember what he looks like. So the split view is very useful, and you can have, more screens in there. So it's really easy to sort of multitask. Well, not multitask, but, So that's the research bit. You can, like I said, I wish you could have notes here. You can have notes in the draft bit, and then they don't end up in the actual manuscript. But I wish you could have notes here so that you don't have to, like, let's add a PDF. There you could have important information, copy and paste it from Wikipedia. But I wish you could have written notes there instead. And one more thing about the draft, you can also choose a continuous view so that when you've chosen your draft, you can see all of the scenes. Well, we've only got this one with actual writing, but you can see them one after the other. And you can pick the ones that you want to see here. You've also got a codex so that you can plan your characters. Let's see what this looks like. So you can add a picture, have a role in the story. Are they the protagonist, antagonist, supporting, minor character? And some details about them. And you can also plan your locations. Although, unlike in yWriter, as far as I know, you can't link your locations and characters to specific scenes so that you could see like who's going where and stuff. And then you've got the outliner. I've understood that there's something similar in Scrivener, or seem to remember. But you can open your folders or your chapters, and then you find your scenes here. Obviously, we only have this one scene. But if we had more, we can actually add more. Add a new scene, and let's move it in here. So we could have it in here and just reorganize these as we wish. And we can also choose a list view if that is how you prefer to see things. So that is very good for restructuring your story and for seeing like how does the story look? How is the pacing? Do you have too much stuff in the beginning and not enough in the middle? Or is your ending too clogged down with too many scenes? So it's very useful. You can also see your writing stats if that's the kind of thing you care about. Personally, I don't really care how much I've written as long as I've written something. And then you can have the focus mode if you want all the extra stuff out of the way. But let's get to exporting your manuscript. So you've got these styles here, and you can choose from these pre-made templates if you're anything like me and you're not good at this like graphic design stuff. So it's got all of these things that go well together. So you can choose from here, and if you want to modify it, then you can pick advanced and then change anything you want, and you can actually even upload your own fonts, so that is very useful. And then the actual exporting of your project, very easy. Just click File and then go Export. And then you can choose whether it's an EPUB or a PDF or a Word document. Got some more options here. Got the metadata, add all the important information there. There are some more options for you to choose from, and then just click export, and that is it. It's very simple. You don't need to be pulling out your hair. So that is basically what Deckle looks like and how you can use it. And as you can see, it is very much intuitive to use and definitely not overwhelming. I've been a loyal yWriter user for years now, almost a decade actually, but I just don't like how it approaches chapters and scenes. So I'm pretty sure I will actually be using Deckle to plan and write my next novel, whenever that's going to be. I'm still working on the 4th draft of my current one, so a new one is not anywhere in the near future. Deckle simply has everything that I need for writing a novel, and I could even make use of the split view when I'm writing my novels in 2 languages. Not 2 languages in the same novel, just the same novel written into. You can even use Deckle for writing nonfiction, and although I'll be using Readsy editor this far for writing my longer ebooks, I will just be using Deckle from now on. Is it perfect? Well, obviously not, but if you know about a perfect writing app, do let me know and I'll go try that one out as well. If you'd also like to simplify your writing life and try Deckle for yourself, you can get 10% off with the code ProtagonistCrafts. After that, go write something and I will see you in another video.